Here, for the first time, we've gathered representatives of each of the 200-plus AKC-recognized breeds, each in their breed groups. Okay, everyone, settle. Even if you've never heard of the AKC, these groups make a lot of sense. Over there in the sporting group are 30-some likable, well-rounded companions, most remarkable for their instincts in water and woods. They are spaniels, retrievers, pointers, and setters. And how is it we're sitting here so perfectly grouped on the grass? Thank the herding group for that. Former members of the working group, this bunch has a genius for controlling the movement of other animals. Okay. I guess I strayed from my spot. Over there, let's give it up for the hound group. These hunters are a diverse lot. Some with acute scenting powers, others with a phenomenal gift of stamina as they relentlessly pursue their quarry. This bunch includes basset hounds, beagles, dachshunds, borzois, and the basenji. The barkless hound. Here's the toy group. Dogs whose function is to embody sheer delight, but don't be fooled by their tiny stature. Many toys are tough as nails. This group of 24 or so includes the Shih Tzu, Maltese, Papillon, and Yorkshire Terrier. While all groups include small dogs, it's the toy group, whose breeds can be ideal for city dwellers with limited square footage. Who next? True to form, that would be the Terrier group. The breeds range considerably in size from the Norfolk, Cairn, or West Highland White Terrier to the Grand Airedale Terrier. All with that distinctive personality, feisty, energetic. Engaging pets? Sure, but always seeming ready for a spirited argument. And over here, taking a rare break, are members of the working group. Canines with such jobs as guarding property, pulling sleds, and performing water rescues. They include Doberman Pinschers, Boxers, Rottweilers, and Mastiffs. Given their considerable dimensions and strength, many of the working group may not be the best fit for the average family. And finally, the bunch we're here to talk about, the group defined not by what it is, but by what it is not. The non-sporting group contains the nonconformists, the square pegs, the outsiders, a delightful miscellany of canines, some lesser known, some hugely popular, grouped by virtue of their not fitting into other groups. How else do you explain a bunch containing bulldogs, poodles, and Dalmatians? I'm Bud Bacone. Let me introduce you to the non-sporting group. Some who outlive their original purpose, others who defy categorization. It's a group dubbed by some the unemployment line of recognized breeds. And in the next few minutes, our job is to explain why.
What is a dog? How much is a dog worth?
The sport of dogs is one of the cleanest and best regulated of all the organized sports.
I am 50% setter, Irish setter.
Today, there is no question of the dog's place in society.
Isn't that so, Lassie?
Down and Back. Stories from the AKC archives.
This is the show for you.
With Bud Bacone.
This pup is more than a pal.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip.
It was the ultimate bottle show, a show with a finite cast limited to a single location, typically steering clear of the expense of extra sets, locations, and cast members. And for reasons that pass understanding, it ruled the TV airwaves for 98 episodes over 3 years. It's been said that you can sing any lyric to the melody of the Gilligan's Island theme song. The words for Amazing Grace fitted alarmingly well. What has caused generations of sitcom aficionados to titter was the opening theme from season 1. With a cast of just 7, the songwriter found room to mention just 5.
Movie star and the rest are here on Gilligan's Island.
The non-sporting group is today an eclectic gathering of 21 breeds, with a category name that suggests they're the and the rest of those recognized. Those who know the wonderful breeds within this group know better. And just before we get into the what's a fine breed like you doing in a group like this, it's worth a look at how the heck the non-sporting group got started. And that can be boiled down to one word: meetings. 125-ish years ago, in those first days of the American Kennel Club, there were meetings. Oh, there were meetings. Marathon meetings of affluent alpha males, the humankind, sifting through endless agendas, often with nary a sandwich or cigar to refresh them. In those early days, these gentlemen sportsmen classified all breeds as sporting or non-sporting dogs. Not a heavy lift for an organization that initially recognized just 9 charter breeds. The original sporting group contained all the hunting breeds, terriers, hounds, and bird dogs. Then, as today, the non-sporting group was the and the rest category. Thither went the toys, herders, drovers, garters, and such one-off breeds as Dalmatians and Bulldogs. As the AKC recognized more breeds, the two-group system became unwieldy. Beginning in 1923, new groups were formed and periodically realigned. Now, by 1933, there were 6 groups, and so it remained for half a century until the working group subdivided into the working and herding groups. By then, the non-sporting group was down to just 7 breeds: Boston Terriers, Bulldogs, Chow Chows, Dalmatians, French Bulldogs, Poodles, and Shar-Peis. These were the charter breeds of the non-sporting group as we know it. In the decades since, the group has been replenished by other unique breeds, both rare and not so much. So you ask, who are they? And to paraphrase the great David Byrne, how did they get here? Let's start with a breed we got to know in season 1. The Dalmatian. Over the years, they've been put to work as hunting dogs, draft dogs, shepherds, and guard dogs, but they were originally bred as coach dogs, a must-have for England's 17th century nobles and merchants. The Dalmatian was adept at running alongside a carriage, warding off threats, especially highwaymen, and with stamina enough to keep up on long journeys. Today, they're still associated with firehouses, dating back to their days racing alongside fire wagons, protecting the horses from pedestrians and stray dogs. A handy thing when nipping along smartly in a busy downtown. On site, the Dalmatian served to guard the wagon and equipment as her humans went to work. That is, until firefighting technology evolved. In the 1800s came the steam pump. In the 1920s, internal combustion vehicles sped firefighters through city streets. Fire horses took their final run in Washington, D.C. in 1925, in Rochester, New York in 1926, and in St. Louis in 1927. Those fire horses and the loyal coach dogs were out of work. Though Dalmatians weren't the only breed integrated within fire stations, a St. Louis outfit had a pointer, while New York's Engine Company No. 45 had a St. Bernard, Dalmatians are the only canines bred specifically for carriage work. Many continue to linger in firehouses as beloved companions and mascots, and many as ambassadors and PR specialists. While many, many others find human families, especially those of runners, hikers, and all who can keep pace with this strong, athletic companion. As for some other popular breeds, they found themselves in the non-sporting group as a result of, if you'll pardon the chronological snobbery, humans behaving badly.
You're listening to Down and Back, stories from the AKC archives.
Early in May 1802, the Honourable Robert Dent, London banker and member of Britain's House of Commons, rose to introduce a bill. It would abolish the sport of bull baiting, the popular blood sport wherein a chained bull and a canine or canines fought to the death. His fellow MPs, in a manner befitting Georgian gentlemen, issued him a verbal wedgie and defeated his bill. The popular sport was safe, for a while, as it had been for at least 6 centuries. Writing in the 1938 Blue Book of Bulldogs, author William Lawler traced the bulldog back to 1210, the year of the first official bull baiting in England. He added that the bulldog is generally believed to have come down from the same common stock developed for that sport. That meant these dogs had to be tough enough to face down a mighty bovine, grab it by the nose, and hang on. It was certainly among the blood sports popular with all classes during the reign of Henry VIII, who kept his own bull garden, and of Queen Elizabeth, during whose reign almost every town and village in England had a bull baiting ring. Unlike the friendly, calm breed we know today, the bulldog's ancestors were bred as ferocious brutes with huge jaws, unbelievably brave and seemingly impervious to pain. The Honourable Robert Dent didn't live to see England's banning of blood sports in 1835. For that matter, neither did a lot of those who were around in 1835. The sports, note my air quotes, would live on for decades. The public's taste for such gruesome spectacles remained, as did desire for wagering on them. Sports betting? Nah, it won't last. With bull baiting on the outs, the games moved underground, literally shifting from big open-air bull rings to smaller indoor venues. Instead of baiting bulls, dogs were now set upon rats. The overseers of this sport, by no means paragons of rectitude, did have an evil genius for breeding the perfect dog for the task. For ratting, they began crossing bulldogs, strong, wide-mouthed, and fearless, with terriers, tenacious hunters of vermin. One enthusiast of the sport, Wentworth Day, described the scene.
This was a rather dirty, small place in the middle of the Cambridge Circus, London. You went down a rotten wooden stair and entered a large underground cellar, which was created by combining the cellars of 2 houses. The cellar was full of smoke, stench of rats, dogs, and dirty human beings as well. The stale smell of flat beer was almost overpowering. Gas lights illuminated the center of the cellar, a ring enclosed by wood barriers, similar to a Roman circus arena, and wooden bleachers arranged one over the other rose stepwise above it nearly to the ceiling. 100 rats were put in it. Large wagers went back and forth on whose dog could kill the most rats within a minute. The dogs worked in exemplary fashion. A grip, a toss, and it was all over for the rat. With especially skillful dogs, 2 dead rats flew through the air at the same time.
This forms the origin story of their gentler, more family-friendly descendants, the Bull Terrier and Miniature Bull Terrier, the Staffordshire and American Staffordshire Terriers. Meanwhile, with bull baiting on the outs, the bulldog was out of work, but not short of admirers. Fans of the breed began a long process of transforming the bulldog from brawler to companion. They refined the physical contours to make the dog more attractive, and they tamped down the bulldog's ferociousness and helped transform her into a sweet, mellow pet, especially good with children. In Liverpool, sometime in the late 1860s, a cross between a bulldog and the now extinct white English terrier begat a tough, muscular dog named Judge. Judge was sold to an American, William O'Brien, who brought the dog home to Boston. There, the dog was sold to another Bostonian, Robert C. Hooper. Judge would ever thereafter be known as Hooper's Judge, the patriarch of today's Boston Terrier, a point of abundant hometown pride. The official mascot of Boston University for about a century, the state legislature named the Boston Terrier, a.k.a. the American Gentleman, the official dog of Massachusetts and the envy of unofficial dogs everywhere. As with the Bulldog, selective breeding transformed the bulky fighter of Judge's time into a smaller, sweeter, and more attractive companion dog, originally called the Roundhead by its partisans. In the mid-1800s, a toy-sized bulldog found favor in some English cities, including Nottingham, then a center for lace-making. To those in the trade, the toy bulldog became something of a mascot. It was the height of the Industrial Revolution in England, and such cottage industries as lace-making were increasingly threatened. Many in the lace trade gravitated to northern France, and of course, they brought their toy bulldogs with them. The little dogs became popular in the French countryside where the lace makers settled. Over a span of decades, the toy bulldogs were crossed with other breeds, perhaps terriers and pugs, and somewhere in that journey developed their now famous bat ears. They were given the name Bulldog Français, the French Bulldog. As Paris came to embrace the delightful new breed, the Frenchie's reputation as a city dog was sealed. By the end of the 19th century, the Frenchie's popularity had spread across Europe and to America. Okay, except in England, where the Bulldog was a national symbol. Human cross-channel grudges notwithstanding, today the Bulldog and French Bulldog peacefully coexist in AKC's non-sporting group, alongside the one-time holder of a Guinness World Record, one that no breed ever wants. It's said that Shar-Pei derives from the Cantonese phrase, and with a name like Bacon, you can trust my grasp of Cantonese, meaning sand skin, a nod to the coloring and texture of the Chinese Shar-Pei coat. The breed dates back more than 2 millennia to the Han Dynasty. It's believed that the Shar-Pei began as a peasant's dog, which meant it had to be versatile. These rugged, intelligent dogs likely served as hunters, herders, and guardians of livestock, warding off both predators and rustlers. Now, I hear you wondering about those deep, distinctive wrinkles in her coat. Those serve as a sort of body armor. If an adversary got hold of the coat, she could still get away and with internal organs undamaged. As for explaining the black tongue, a trait shared with the Chow Chow, we got nothing. As with so much of China, the fate of the Shar-Pei changed dramatically when the Communist Party came to power in the 1940s. A hefty tax was imposed on owners of all dogs, driving the breed to the brink. By the late 60s, the Guinness Book of World Records listed the Shar-Pei as the world's rarest dog breed. It was reckoned that worldwide, just 60 dogs remained, 8 of those in the U.S. And that's when Life magazine came to the rescue. A breeder in Hong Kong, then a British colony, feared that the city would rejoin China and meet with the same harsh restrictions on dogs. Life answered her plea. In 1979, it published an issue with a Shar-Pei on the cover. Soon after, sales of Shar-Pei puppies skyrocketed in the U.S. Within a decade, the breed's worldwide population was estimated somewhere north of 13,000. The breed was recognized by the AKC in 1992. The non-sporting group can be one of the... Excuse me. Text from Miranda in Donnybrook, North Dakota. Hey, bud, what the heck is the Poodle doing in the non-sporting group? Well, okay, come with me. A lot of Americans got their first look at the Poodle here, at the circus. And no wonder, the breed is athletic, highly intelligent, and so very trainable. Others got to know the Poodle as a fashion icon, while thousands get to know her today for her work as a guide dog or companion dog or service dog for those with disabilities. And however off-brand it may appear, a poll of North American dog trainers also included the Poodle on the list of effective watchdogs. The uninitiated can be surprised to learn the Poodle was first bred in Germany as a hunting dog. Today, many a hunter swears by them, and poodles remain formidable competitors in related AKC dog sports. So yes, Miranda, poodles would be entirely at home in the sporting group. And while it's above my pay grade to say, having them in the much broader tent of the non-sporting group doesn't feel at all out of place for a canine of such abundant gifts. For two other breeds in the non-sporting group, the path to showbiz success come with stories and twists worthy of the great dime novels. In the early 1800s, waves of German immigrants came to these shores and in time profoundly influenced the American Midwest. You see it in the Lutheran churches that dot the landscape, taste it in the many traditional German foods available, and wash it down with some of the many German-styled beers. They also brought with them a highly trainable Nordic canine breed called the German Spitz. In fact, they were so trainable that by the late 19th century, many were recruited into show business. The German Spitz became a star in traveling circuses, vaudeville troupes, and Wild West shows. Things were tickety-boo until the world went to war and America's stock in all things German plummeted. That was when the British rebranded the German Shepherd dog as the Alsatian, and the dachshunds everywhere suffered random abuse by passers-by. For many Americans, a change to the family name brought welcome relief from persecution. Weber became Weaver, Zimmerman became Carpenter, and Schmidt became Smith. It was an Ohio Spitz breeding kennel that changed the German Spitz name to the American Eskimo dog. Though decidedly un-German, the name defied reason, the canine having no known connection to Inuit or any indigenous peoples. Yet, like Weaver, Carpenter, and Smith, the name endures. And the curious, endearing farmhand turned showbiz celebrity enjoys a lasting place in the non-sporting group. The third in the showbiz trilogy? A riches to rags to resurrection story that began in the royal courts of Europe. The small, sturdy, resilient Bishon Frise stands as one of the world's great personality dogs, and it would need all of its charm, beauty, and intelligence to weather history's ups and downs. As far back as the 13th century, its primary ancestor, the Bishon Terrier, became a favorite of Europe's nobles, endearing themselves to the courts of Spain, Italy, and, alas, France. With the French Revolution, the dogs watched as their humans were led one by one first to prison, then to the guillotine. The Bishon's time as a pampered and perfumed lapdog had come to an end. Many were turned out on the street to fend for themselves. It wasn't long before street entertainers trained these bright, agile canines to coax a coin or two from passers-by. Intelligent, trainable, impossibly cute, and always at their best in the spotlight, the Bishon became a rising star and a prized circus performer. But along came that pesky 20th century again, and the two world wars that found Europe too busy tearing itself to pieces to concern itself with canines and circus tricks. It's an oft-told tale, that of breeds displaced and decimated by war, then rescued and preserved by a number of dedicated canine fanciers, people who saw in the Bishon the same irresistible qualities that had captivated humans for so many centuries. The Bishon Frise Club of America was founded in San Diego in 1964. The breed was recognized within the non-sporting group in 1973. It's okay to wonder about the handle non-sporting, especially when that group contains the Poodle, who excels in sporting competitions, and the Norwegian Lundehund, trained to climb steep ocean cliffs in search of puffins until the law and local dietary needs changed. And the dozen-ish other breeds of the group whose skills, intelligence, and strengths have garnered accolades and affection for nearly as long as humans have known how to ooh and ah.
Down and Back, stories from the AKC archives. Visit akc.org to learn everything you could ever want to know about responsible dog ownership. Follow AKC on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at American Kennel Club. On X, at AKC Dog Lovers. And tell us what you thought of the show. If you're new to the show, subscribe with your favorite podcast provider to catch up on all of our past episodes. Founded in 1884, the not-for-profit AKC is the recognized and trusted expert in breed, health, and training information for all dogs. We actively advocate for responsible dog ownership and are dedicated to advancing dog sports. We actively advocate for responsible dog ownership and are dedicated to advancing dog sports. Excuse me. Research for Down and Back is provided by the AKC Library and Archives, the only national repository dedicated to the sport and enjoyment of the purebred dog. Learn more about the collections at akc.org/library.